It's been a while since I've last uploaded a video, much less one talking about Hunter or discussing anything, for that matter. Thus, this video was never planned and I decided to write this on a whim upon seeing a video that had been uploaded 4 weeks ago. However, I have planned several Hunter videos on the back burner. Nonetheless, since you've seen the title of this video, then you may understand why I have decided to come out of hiding to quickly discuss this. There are still individuals who are in disbelief of Hisoka's identity, and so I've taken it upon myself to crush these theories and rumors once and for all. Now, as to how I'll go about this video, there will be a few stipulations that I will make clear. This is not a personal attack on the gentleman by the name of Oni-chan, however, I will use his video as the blueprint and my platform for what my video will be in response to. This is because I believe the video is succinct and encapsulates all the theories which I disagree with, so the video acts as a generalization for the opinions regarding Hisoka's identity and allows me to better respond to them all, not because I am exclusively slandering him. I do recommend watching his video to gain perspective on his theory and reasonings, so you can develop your own opinions rather than just taking my word for it. Lastly, I do not encourage any slander towards Oni-chan and I encourage you to watch his videos as he is passionate about the story and is at least far more productive than I am in video creation. It's unproductive to demoralize someone. I'm only going after his theory with the belief it will fuel discussion in the community and better inform you about the story. That is all. To begin with, the crux of Oni's theory is that he believes Chrollo is Hisoka in disguise to lure Hisoka, similar to how Hisoka used Chrollo's name during the Greed Island arc. The opinion aside, the lack of explanation as to how he goes about this, or how it can be logically written, it is an interesting proposition, if anything. I should also add that Oni has explicitly stated that the theory is not perfect and unless Togashi denounces the theory, then it will be his headcanon in the meantime, which I can accept. However, the point of this video is to explain why it can't be anyone but Hisoka and to clarify the why and how. For starters, let's begin with the usual reason as to why people believe this is someone masquerading as Hisoka, which is the fact that it was never explicitly clear or revealed if it was Hisoka, as Lynch never got to use her ability on him, and when spoken to by Sakura and Hinrai, he never replied to the question if he was Hisoka and sidestepped it entirely. This logic, to me, shows the lack of fundamental understanding of the kind of individual Hisoka is and Togashi's writing style, as he never writes with these sorts of plot twists, which screams something that comes from typical shonen fans, like Order's League of Children. Hisoka has never once, nor ever even before the psychological change in his character due to being effortlessly crushed by Chrollo, formally introduced himself to others. When Goto asked him during the election arc, he refused to answer the question. This ties back into the narration about Hisoka, going all the way back to Heaven's Arena, which is his disinterest in talking about himself or even opening up, opting to exist as this mysterious force of nature. Hisoka choosing not to answer isn't some hint that he isn't Hisoka, it's Togashi still being consistent to the core of who Hisoka is, despite his change in mental state. Now, this reasoning is from Oni specifically, rather than a general belief of some members in the community, which is the idea that the person who we've seen in chapters 392 and 393 is not Hisoka due to not acting as he typically would. Explaining that Hisoka not being punched by Lynch makes no sense due to allowing Gon to attack him, whereas Chrollo quickly dispatches individuals in a single strike. This also makes no sense because it's not as if Hisoka hasn't done this numerous times throughout the series before. When we are first introduced to him, he severed the arms of a contestant in the Hunter exams before it had even begun, all because he bumped into him. He would then attack the man face tape and Satotes, unprovoked and because he could, to prove who was fake, even though there was the chance that he could have been disqualified like he had the previous year on an impulse, for deeming the examinee as inferior. Shortly after this, Hisoka would succumb to his psychopathic impulses and slaughter a group of contestants, egotistically playing judge and seeing if they had the right to be hunters according to his arbitrary judgment. This personality trait never diminished even after his defeat to Chrollo. It grew stronger with how he now picks his battles carefully and is adopting a far more methodical approach instead of giving his opponent all the time and advantages possible to dynamically crush them. This is best shown in his quickly dispatching and killing Chrollo and Shanark, who were bereft of any nen, not even allowing them the chance to fight back and attack the two most vulnerable legs of the spider. Hisoka allowing himself to be attacked by Gon during his fight was an exception rather than the rule due to Hisoka's arousal and infatuation with Gon, which is no different than his elation and glee upon being attacked by Chrollo. This leads to his other point, which is Chrollo utilizing Bonolinoff's ability to disguise himself as Hisoka. The logic in how the plan would work or function compared to how it was written in Greed Island aside, this also makes no sense due to Chrollo's change in mental state and how he is reeling from the deaths of Chrollo and Shanark, which were, in part, his fault due to them being unable to defend themselves. In that case, why would Chrollo intentionally squander Bonolinoff's chances of defending himself and using his ability, especially in a foreign, hostile environment? And before you can argue that Chrollo could exclusively take Bono's shape-shifting ability, remember that the conditions of Chrollo's ability are that he needs to know the ins and outs of the ability he intends to steal, meaning he would have to take the entire package, rather than one aspect. Also, don't even try to bring up his Convert Hands ability. By apprehending the conditions, you'll logically understand that it makes no sense in this context since it requires him to find and touch Hisoka to change his appearance. But why would he do that? Additionally, Chrollo, alongside a majority of the troop, is in Tier 4 with Shizuku and Bonovalov, whereas Phaeton, Nobunaga, and Finks were in Tier 5 until the recent chapters, storming into the Haley hideout. Hisoka, on the other hand, is in Tier 3 and is allegedly heading towards Tier 1, but that is another discussion entirely. Another character who is currently in Tier 3 and a group of individuals who believe is Hisoka in disguise is Illumi for some reason, despite making just as little sense as it being Chrollo. There is no actual reasoning or explanation as to why Illumi would do this, nor would it make sense in his character and the fact he is playing a cat-and-mouse game with Hisoka. Illumi is also with Kaluto. Would Kaluto really not notice his brother acting strangely? How would changing into Hisoka serve Illumi's needs, unless people truly prescribe to the belief that he is secretly in league with Hisoka? Hisoka's goal is to kill every single spider, including Illumi and Kaluto. This has been set up since the hunter examined Hisoka willingly killing Killua if it meant incurring Illumi's wrath to fight him in the election arc. In that case, why would Illumi willingly work with Hisoka, knowing the kind of individual he is and that he is more than willing to also kill his younger brother? Lastly, we are also privy to Illumi's current whereabouts as he is being held in the central police station on Tier 3. To conclude this, Onii brings up the thing due to the themes of impersonation, which he believes is Togashi foreshadowing the events of the story. Though it is a part of the film, the reason for the reference to that film is due to the nature of the arc, where characters are put into a claustrophobic, isolated environment where everyone is unfamiliar with one another and grow increasingly distrustful and anxious as they are picked off one by one. In short, the debate is finally over. The man we've seen in chapters 392 and 393 is, without a doubt, Hisoka. Long before the Chrollo theories, there was a time when people believed that Bill or Bellaraint was Hisoka. Bill due to his mysteriousness until Togashi broke that theory apart once he revealed he was an enhancer and the knowledge of him being in Tier 3 whereas Bill is in Tier 1. Bellaraint all because of the one heart icon in a piece of dialogue until Togashi broke that apart for the same reasons I had listed for Bill. This is a case of history repeating itself and it will be no different.